Welcome to episode 5 of Kings of Opinion. We got the Wanderer here, and we got Steve doing the special guest commentary, and he's going to look up all our stuff that we need him to look up for today. Gentlemen, say hello to the audience.
Yes, welcome everyone. Thank you for stopping by.
I'm taking the role of Ernie today, so I'll be behind the sticks.
All right. Let's jump right into this, okay? So over the weekend, we had a big weekend for New York sports, and it continues today. So we're going to get right to it. So we had the Yankees at the Twins over the weekend at the stadium. All right, so it didn't start off so hot for the New York Yankees over the weekend. Thursday and Friday, they took L's against the Twinkies. And then they came back roaring on Saturday and Sunday to even the series out and still don't have a losing series. So that's 5 in a row right now. The Yankees behind Garrett Cole on Sunday. He pitched a complete game, shutout, 10 strikeouts, and obviously went the distance. So he's looking rather sharp. I know it's only April, but he's the front runner for the Cy Young already. It's a little too early to talk about it, so we won't. But the guys on the radio always talk about it, so we'll just briefly mention it. What do you guys got for either the Mets, Yankees over the weekend? I know the Mets handled their business over the weekend, so what do we got?
Well, just to piggyback off that real quick, I love the quote from Carlos Correa saying, "It's like gasoline in your Ferrari." And this was when he was saying getting booed by Yankee fans. It's like gasoline in your Ferrari. And you know what? I can see a lot of teams taking that same type of momentum and that same vibe and making something of it. I thought that was an interesting quote. But at the end of the day, they did handle business against the Twins. Mets, just switching gears for a second, it's obviously a West Coast road trip. Always a tough thing to do. You and I had a brief conversation about it. I like to see him go 7-3. Wander, as you know, bro, West Coast is always tough, bro. I'm glad we're getting it done early this year.
Yeah, East to West is definitely tough. I didn't get to watch any of the games over the weekend. I was out and about.
What were you doing this weekend, bro, besides watching baseball?
Went to a couple of shows.
Tell us about it.
Friday night I went to a show at the Brooklyn Monarch to see, it was a non-fiction show, and they had a few openers, including Sean Strange, shout out to him, Bronze Nazareth, and the Rock Ness Monster.
The Rock Ness Monster?
Ooh, I like that name.
Helter Skelter.
I like
That's
that
an awesome name.
Actually, Sean Price, who's the other member of Helter Skelter, his mother was also in the building, which was nice. So that was good. And then on Saturday night, I was at the Industry in Huntington for a release party for the Bad Guys, new band. Please check them out. And so that was fun. A couple good shows.
So,
And the Mets, I think they won, right?
yep, they were
They
like,
swept. They swept
had-
Oakland, bro.
Listen.
That was big. But you know what they did? What they
Maybe
were
it's
supposed to
better-
do.
Maybe it's better that I'm not watching. So,
well, listen, to be fair, the Oakland Athletics suck, okay?
True.
So
True.
they had to go up there and handle their business. I know it's a West Coast trip, I know it's hard, but if I was a Met fan playing Oakland, the Dodgers, and I believe the Giants, like Steve said, 7-3, if not better. I know it's tough because you got the Dodgers in there, but if they could at least sneak 1 and then take another 3, they got their 7. You have to sweep the Oakland A's, and they did it. And they did it a bunch of different ways. Game 1, they scored 17 runs, blew them out. I know there were a lot of walks in that game, but so what? It's not our problem, right? So you walk us, they make them pay. That's the thing about baseball. You gotta, if you get extra outs or extra guys on base, you gotta make them pay. The good teams will do that, and you'll beat the bad teams. And you just gotta beat the guys that are in your way. So Oakland was in their way this weekend. They swept them. Part 1 of the 3 series out of the way. As you say, it's in the books.
Right. They're doing what they're supposed to do right now.
Correct.
They were supposed to go to Oakland and win those 3 games. Now tonight, obviously, they open up against the Dodgers, 10 o'clock East Coast time. They have to. The Dodgers. I look forward to playing them just as much as I look forward to playing the Braves and the Phillies. Those NL East teams. I put the Dodgers right up there with them because you know they're gonna make noise. They're gonna be there in the playoffs. So it's always a good test, especially against their rotation, to see how our hitting is doing. Pete Alonso, by the way, leading the MLB in home runs with 8. I like I like his approach at the plate this year. It looks like he lost a little weight.
20 pounds.
He's hitting the ball hard. It looks like he's on his way to doing something very nice this season. But again, getting back to that West Coast trip, they gotta continue that momentum.
He's probably going to do the same thing as Judge did last year because I think it's a contract year for him after this year. So he's going to do fantastic, and then he's going to rake in the big bucks. So
I hope so.
Wish him the best of luck with that, obviously, because you would obviously want him to remain a Met. Obviously, they're going to pay him. Uncle Stevie, he does this all the time since he's got the team. So I don't see why it's going to be an issue.
Lindor's having himself a nice little road trip as well.
Yep, they both are.
Not for nothing.
They both are.
We'll see now against. Again, it was perfect playing the A's to start it because now you build that momentum. You get your bats hot. You sweep 3 games and then you go into LA hot. And we'll see if that balloon gets deflated tonight when they play LA, or if it still remains inflated and they go out there and they put on a show tonight. Brett Beatty coming up tonight, batting I believe in the 8th spot in the lineup.
Did they bring out the lineup here? Because before I was getting home, they didn't have it yet.
I'll run.
It
I'll
was
run
all
that for you right now.
speculation. So
Run that for you right now. I believe he is in the lineup tonight. Brett Beatty, Brett the Met, as they say.
Well, listen, he earned it. He's been crushing it in the minor leagues. So
Could have arguably started the season on opening day.
he should have, but they wanted him to get regular at bats. And listen, it's only 2 weeks into the season, so what do you think, Wander?
And regarding,
To the rookie Beatty coming up to play third base for the Mets.
hey, I mean, let's see what happens. He's, I think he's got potential. Let's see what develops.
He's batting 8th in the lineup tonight. They're playing Nito a catcher. I mean, I like to see them get Alvarez, more reps at the catcher spot. That's my only qualm, I guess, with Buck Showalter at this point in the season. I like to see him get a few more reps and be the steady starter over Nito. Not to say he hasn't. It's more of like a platoon at this point. I want to see a steady dose of Alvarez.
Well, I'm sure eventually once he starts hitting it, he'll get there. For right now, they don't want to overwhelm him. I think if they're going to start him a lot, it should be on the road. There's less pressure there. I know there's pressure everywhere, but when you're brought up, kind of like what they did with Beatty, like they're just bringing him up now on the road trip. Hopefully he stays hot from the minor leagues, and he goes into Citi Field and he just keeps it flowing, as opposed to bringing him in and then not that the fans are a bad thing, they're going to be cheering him on, but that pressure could get to a lot of people early on, especially when you're a rookie, just getting called up. And I know he was there last year, but he had a little bit of an injury a couple weeks ago. He's back, he's healthy, what have you. I want to switch gears a little bit for a second and just talk about some of the injuries. There's 2 major injuries on both sides of the fence from the Bronx and Queens. One is Scherzer. He skipped his start over the weekend.
I wouldn't call it a major injury.
We don't know yet because they're already talking about on the radio today. Carton and Roberts were saying either him or Syndergaard will not be pitching on that Wednesday. So my money would be on Scherzer.
Why wouldn't Syndergaard be pitching on that Wednesday?
That's what they're saying. They didn't specify. They said one of them will not be starting. They didn't even say where their money was. I'm saying my money is on Scherzer because he's already skipped the start. I could see them saying, we got to push him back a couple more days because it's a back issue. Backs are very tricky. I know that more than most. It's a very tricky thing, and why bring him out there early in the season, and then all of a sudden it's more of an injury, and now he's on the shelf for 8 weeks like he was last year. Like, you just don't need it. And the Dodgers are the Dodgers. You could fill somebody in, and if the Mets are hot, they could slug with the Dodgers. I wouldn't be worried about that. So rest Scherzer. I don't know why Syndergaard wouldn't be, but who knows? That happened with the Angels.
He punks out.
Well, that's what happened last year with the Angels, so I guess that's what they're assuming. You know what I mean? Last year, the Mets played the Angels, and he bailed out. So, I don't know. On the other side of the fence, you have Giancarlo Stanton.
What's up with that guy?
Hamstring, out 4 to 6 weeks.
I was talking to a few of my friends. They say he needs to lose muscle and stretch more. I couldn't disagree more. That is not the issue. The guy is built. He's trim. He's all muscle, zero fat. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, but he's just injury prone, I guess. It is what
This
it
is
is.
his second or third, either calf, hamstring, whatever. But listen, at the end of the day, as long as he's healthy for the playoffs, I mean, it sucks that he got hurt right now because he was crushing the ball. So now you're going to miss that. He's avoiding the lineup. DJ's now hitting
How much time is he supposed to miss?
4 to 6 weeks.
4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Stanton?
Well, I knew once they said it was a hamstring, he wasn't out 10 days. It was going to be a
Hammies
month.
are always tricky.
Yeah, so it was going to be a month easy for him. They baby him too, so he'll even come back and DH for like another month. He won't even play the field. So it's just an absolute disaster. And the Yankees are getting hit all over the place with injuries. Thankfully, knock on wood, it's nothing super serious because that would be a huge problem for baseball and Yankee fans. But I don't know. It's just tough for me. I can't say a bad thing about him though because besides him and DJ, no one hits in the playoffs. I mean, we just got Bader. He hit last year. But Stanton just crushes it in the playoffs.
Bader hasn't taken a rep yet as a Yankee this season. And that brings us back to our point we said about him. That guy is always hurt. I don't know why you guys love him so much. Wander, these guys were singing to the rafters at the start of the season about Bader. I don't see what all the hype is. Guy's got a 240 something average. I mean, you could take that when he's healthy, and when he's not, he's useless in my opinion. You guys need to move on from that train.
He's a Gold Glove center fielder.
He had a good postseason. That's about it.
That's all I want. If he does that every year, I don't care if he hits 240. If he hits home runs in the playoffs for the Yankees, I could care less what he hits in the.
It's not hard to do that in that ballpark, though. It's not hard to do that in that ballpark.
He did it also away from that ballpark in Cleveland.
I'm just saying that's another
And
that's another band. Two other bandboxes.
Hey, listen,
you know what I mean?
we don't determine where we play in the playoffs, my man. All I can tell you is he hit the most home runs out of any Yankee last year in the playoffs.
Fair play to him.
That's all I need. It shows that he has grit, maybe moxie even. That he could play in
New York
that,
moxie.
Yeah, in that kind of like stressful environment. I like that. And if you could play flawless center field, I'll take that. Because otherwise, it's Aaron Hicks. And I at this point,
How that guy still has
alternative is what you're saying.
no.
how that guy still has a job is unbelievable.
Right, like that guy should be. I'll tell you right now, someone should snipe him from a rooftop in the Bronx while he's playing center field. It's crazy how bad he is, and he looks it. He looks shaky. It was almost like he went back to high school, and he's not all there all the time. It's just bad. I don't know. The guy's terrible. He should be bagging groceries at Stop and Shop. That's about the only job he should do right now. There's no pressure in it. Paper or plastic. And it's probably not even plastic anymore. Yeah. But anyway,
Incredibly still has a job.
yeah, and he's making $10 million. Good for him. I'll tell you what. I'll play center field for the Yankees for $1 million, and I'll catch more fly balls than him.
There you go.
Might not throw anybody out because I'm sure his arm's stronger than mine, and he's also probably 10 years younger than me. But I'll make every catch. Let's put it that way. Put in the books. But that's about all I got for the injuries. What do you guys think about these really short baseball games? The Yankee game yesterday was 2 hours long.
I think it was first week maybe. I was having a conversation at a bar, and the gentleman had mentioned how he thinks it's affecting the pitching, like the starting pitching, as far as timing and everything.
Right. Well, it's funny because a lot of the pitchers are used to it because a lot of them are coming from the minor leagues that had it the last year.
Okay.
It's just like, I guess, more of the
So
senior
it's easier
guys.
for them to adapt.
Yeah, like a lot of the bullpen guys, I guess you could say. Not as so many as starters, but a lot of the bullpen guys are fine with it. And it even seems like some of the guys that have been here for years in the majors acclimated to it rather quickly. So it's good. It's just crazy to me that yesterday I was out golfing, and before I even hit the 9th hole, the Yankee game's over. It was like 2 hours and 7 minutes, legit.
Wow.
And that's because it was a pitching duel. There was only 2 runs scored, both by DJ, the Machina, and the game was over at 3 o'clock or 3:07, whatever it was. I think they started at 1:30, so it was over like 3:30, maybe something like that.
That's quick, yeah.
It's so quick. Like you go to the bathroom, you'll miss 3 innings.
The one guy that I think is definitely perplexed by the pitch clock is Scherzer. He looks visibly like uncomfortable out there. He's he's getting, and listen, I know he's a gamer. I know he wears his emotions on his sleeve, but he does look like he's visibly annoyed by the pitch clock. It does seem to throw him off a little bit from time to time, and he's resetting. He's calling timeouts. Guys are stepping out of the box. He's stepping off the rubber. In his game against Miami, he was trying to step off. Nito was calling timeouts. So he's that one guy I could say early on, at least for the Mets, that looks like he's a little perplexed by the clock. He's not a fan of it. I think he's been pretty vocal about it as well in his press conferences, post game press conferences.
Well, you guys could correct me if I'm wrong, but he was notorious for taking his sweet time on the mound, no?
When he's in a rhythm, he tends to deal, wheel and deal, but it just, I think there's going to be an adjustment period for everybody. You don't have as much time as you used to, and I think, kind of thrusting these guys into that is something that will take a little getting used to. There's definitely a learning curve there.
Right.
But overall, I don't. So here's my thing. Now that there's a few games or a few series under the belt over here, I do like the pitch clock. I actually am a fan of it. I don't know all the nuances behind it, like all the rules. I know there's some rules with the pitch clock and taking a certain amount of timeouts and what people have, but I do like the speed of the game. I went to a Met game when they opened up against the Padres, and they were moving well. Again, it's one of those things where if you do get out of your seats and you start walking around the ballpark, be prepared to, miss an inning or so, especially if you're going to grab food or whatever.
Right.
But that's the one thing that you knew was going to happen with this. So the speed of the game is nice, and then listen, if guys are really hitting the ball, if it's a high-scoring game, it's just going to go on longer anyway. I mean, that Met game where they dropped 17 against the A's was on for a long time. If you're producing runs, the game will last longer.
Oh, yeah. Well, that goes without saying. There's nothing the pitch clock could do about scoring 17 runs in 9 innings of baseball.
And in a run-heavy league at this point in time, I think that's what baseball doesn't mind trading for.
No, they wanted that. That's
exactly
the whole point.
You know what I mean?
They want the run scored. They want excitement. They want the young crowd to get into it, and they want it quick and out. See you later. I did hear.
If it's a low-scoring game, yes.
I did hear, however, that remember they would stop serving alcohol in the 7th. Now they're stopped serving alcohol in the 8th.
Confirmed?
I haven't confirmed it, but that's what I heard.
They wouldn't just make it the end of the game.
Well,
I mean, not the end of the game, the end of the mid ninth, maybe. No.
I mean,
a little more bang for your buck?
well, I guess.
God knows you're paying
Corporations like money, right?
As I say, God knows you're paying $20 a beer anyway when you go to the ballpark.
Well, so there's probably a lot of factors with that. One is they don't want a lot of drunk people going out after the game and getting drunk. But I guess you could see it both sides. I mean, if it's the 8th inning, what's the difference between the 8th inning and the top of the 9th? But I think they cut it instead of cutting it at the top of the 7th. They cut it top of the 8th. I mean, if you could hit that and see if that's true, that'd be great.
Maybe another beverage.
Yeah, one or two. But if you go up there,
discretion, of course.
right? If you go up there, you could get 2. I think it's 2 per person. So if me and you went up there, we each get 2. That settles you for the rest of the game, and then you take the walk. However you go home, you go home. Hopefully it's Uber or the train. Hopefully you only had a few beers and you stretched it out throughout the whole game, and then you'll be fine to make it home. Because I'll tell you what, New York City traffic, New York City drivers, the taxis, the buses, they're all crazy. They drive nuts.
It just to clarify your point, it looks like a few teams have done it, not all though.
Okay.
The Milwaukee Brewers proudly, considering their name, the Brewers,
Mm-hmm.
they have extended their beer sales into the 8th inning. It looks like the Rangers have as well. In fact, I can tell you right here, the Diamondbacks, the Rangers, and the Twins have confirmed that they are extending their beer sales through the 8th inning.
Okay.
This was 4 days ago, so
It's only a matter of time.
I think more teams will jump on board on that. I don't see the harm in it at this point. I mean, if the game is moving quicker, what is the harm? You know what I mean? You do have to cut them off at some point. I'm not saying you don't, but 8th inning is nothing crazy to stop selling alcohol. Someone's got to pay for Harrison Bader sitting at home selling buttons. So
Well, the Steinbretters are doing that. So
you know what I'm saying, Wander? Me and the Wander are Met fans, so I gotta take my jabs when I can early in the season.
I know Uncle Stevie's not worrying about Diaz's contract while he's sitting at home.
Listen, Diaz says he's coming back and pitching this year.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Listen, from his mouth to God's ears. Let's hope it happens.
I guarantee if they let him come back, it'll be a huge mistake.
We'll see what happens.
Huge.
Remains to be seen.
Huge. Either which way, I think all the teams within weeks will be bringing that to the 8th inning because the games are shorter. They want to make as much money as you said. They want to make as much capital as they said.
That's the goal, right?
So every team's going to do that because they're also realizing the reason why they're going to the 8th inning is because they're not 3-hour games anymore. So where you were selling it to the 7th, right? The 7th inning might have been almost 3 hours or around the 2.5 hour marker.
Right.
So now if the game ends in 2.5 hours, the game's over, you're missing out on some money. So they'll do it to the 8th and they'll get a little bit of extra money back that they wouldn't normally have had because of the pitch clock. So in the background, guys, we got the Carolina Hurricanes versus the New York Islanders. It's their first game of the playoffs. It was 2-0. The Islanders just scored a goal a few minutes ago.
Nice.
It's in the second period right now. It's 2-1 Carolina. We're rooting, or at least I'm rooting for the Islanders. I don't know about you guys,
Gotta go Islanders.
right? We're Long Island guys, right? For the most part.
I like what they did at their stadium. They serve a lot of local food there. They took on a lot of the restaurants that are localized, like the Harrison, a few other known spots that are, Long Island, Mineola, like Floral Park area, diners and restaurants and things of that nature, and they've incorporated them into their stadium.
That's cool.
And that's a very cool thing. It's a unique experience, especially if you're coming to the stadium from a different city and you want to get a true feel for Long Island. That's what you will experience there.
I think I'm the only one out of the three of us that hasn't been there yet.
Yeah, that's correct.
So you guys gotta let me know. Like I gotta get there. I don't think I'm gonna get there this year now, but because the playoff ticket's gonna be through the roof. But I gotta get there because I heard good things about it. Good food.
The UFC is actually supposed to be doing another event there this year.
They had one already.
They did one last year. They're going to be doing. They want to do another one this year because they had their sales were tremendous. So I think Ortega fought over there, and they did a very nice sale over there. And they're talking about coming back to that.
That's good.
That arena.
Maybe we'll go check that out. Maybe we'll take the show on the road, as they say.
Hey,
What do you
why not?
think?
I think Long Island Railroad right over there, bro.
Long Island
It's
Railroad.
a beautiful. It's right there.
You could set up in the lot, but
Yeah.
it's quite it's not exactly right next to the stadium.
No.
It's not. They do have to shuttle you out there. They do have to shuttle you out there.
Did anyone see what they're building over there? There's like these construction things and like these concrete walls. Like what is that?
I didn't notice.
Even the train, it's it's a little bit of a hike too.
Right, but we like basically live like down the block from it. Why would we go to the train station to take it one stop? We just take
That's
an
true,
Uber
yeah.
from like Fallon's. By the way, shout out to Jay Fallon's. That's our place where we watch Sunday football.
You could go there. You could go. So what you could do if you really wanted to go to an Islanders game, or any event at UBS Arena, you could go to Fallon's, have yourself a few drinks there, and then hop on the train and then just go right to.
That
UBS
I
Arena.
would do. So that is what I'm going to do. I think next year, the start of the season, one of their first home games, maybe not the first home game. I'm going to do that. You guys are more than welcome to come with me. Anyone's welcome. I'm going to go do it. Just not the opening game because that's probably going to be pretty pricey.
Always.
So I'll go like one of the first couple of games there and check out the stadium. I'm ashamed of myself not getting there this year. Just a lot of missed opportunities, I guess.
They have like this standing room. Wonder when did you go there? When did you go there? Did you see, or when you went there, did you see the standing room that you can take like right on the ice over there? Like you can just walk up on like that first level, and there's like standing room, kind of like at Citi Field where you can like walk up and just post up. There's a little ledge there, and you can watch the game
Nice.
from the bottom level. Yeah.
I think I only walked around on the bottom.
Gotcha.
But, yeah, it was my cousin's husband's season tickets.
Nice.
So,
Yeah, they have-
not
they
a bad
have that
seat.
too.
I've sat in high up in a few spots. Not really a bad seat in the house there.
Really?
I heard it was
Side
built really
lines.
well. I heard it was built really well.
It's very definitely viewer friendly.
Are those Are those seats cheaper because they're standing room only on the first level, or
So I don't know if those are actually sold. I think those are like you can just go and stand over there.
oh, so
like
whatever
anybody.
ticket you have, you just go
Yeah.
there and stand?
I'm sure for like a big playoff game, they might sell
Go-
standing room
yeah,
only, and then
100%.
first come first serve.
100%. Has to be. Has to be. That's how you make your extra money during the playoffs. That's why they all want to make the playoffs. But yeah, so they're on right now. So hopefully we get a win. We're rooting for the Islanders to take it, Any predictions? Like 5, 6, 7? What do we think?
I'm just hoping the Islanders can take it. I'll be honest with you.
I'm gonna agree
Yeah.
there.
So it doesn't matter.
Carolina's not an easy team though. I'll tell you that right now.
No, they're up in the they're up there. Cause what are they? The number 1 or 2 seed, I think. Maybe the 2. Cause Boston Bruins got to be number 1.
I don't know. You know who would know? Christina.
You know who would know? Someone has a phone that can check it, stat man. What are you doing? What are you there off the screen for if you're not checking stuff?
Let's check it out right now.
All right. While he's doing that, we'll Google it, as they say. The Rangers play tomorrow. We're also not going to root against them. They're playing the Devils. That's a tough matchup for them too. I can see that going the distance. I'm not going to root against the Rangers because Jersey's Jersey, so why would I root for Jersey? But what about you, Wanda?
Oh, I always root for the Rangers. That was my dad's favorite team.
Oh.
But again, I don't know
Yeah.
really much about hockey.
No, you don't have to know much about hockey. You just got to be a fan right now. Like, for me, I don't watch hockey all year long, but I'll tell you what, there's almost nothing more exciting than playoff hockey. So we got it on in the background right now to root for the Islanders, and I'm sure tomorrow we'll be out somewhere or either home watching the Ranger game because, I mean, playoff hockey's intense.
Right.
Every time I watch it, it's like, Jesus, it's crazy.
Carolina, by the way, won overall.
Oh.
And the Islanders snuck in the wild card.
Oh,
Okay,
So if they do win, major upset.
Right, major upset. And then Rangers and Devils, who's the higher seed there?
Rangers and Devils, it's a 2 versus a 3, so that's going to be pretty competitive.
Yeah, that's gonna go the distance. Definitely go the distance there, for sure.
The opening rounds are 7-game sets, man.
They are.
Hockey playoffs are long.
Yeah,
They're
well,
long and grueling.
So like basketball and hockey, so they have an 82-game schedule, right? However, their playoffs are almost as long as their season, because it seems like it's like from now, which is April, to June. Like the Stanley Cup is in June and the NBA Finals is in June.
Right.
So like they only play like a couple times a week, and they're all 7-game series. So it just goes on and on. And hockey, more than anything, for whatever reason, it's so competitive. It usually goes like 6 or 7 games. You don't get too many like sweeps or anything like that, or 5.
A lot of back and forth.
Yeah, a lot. It's all about whose goalie's hotter at the time. You know, if you get a goalie that's average throughout the whole season, but then he just gets hot, like he'll stop everything. Like right now, the Islander goalie just blocked 3 or 4 shots in a row. He's amazing right now. I mean, he did give up 2 goals already, but he's keeping them in the game right now, and which is all the Islanders need because they're a third period team. They normally score a lot of goals in the third period. From what I hear and what I've seen a little bit of them, they're down in the third quarter a goal or 2. Bet on them because more often than not they come through. So they got that going for them. I actually heard that when you were talking earlier, you said UFC was at the UBS Arena, right?
Yes, it was. They had an event there last year.
So wasn't there some fights over this weekend for UFC?
There was. There was the Max Holloway Arnold Allen fight, which took place in Kansas City. That was actually a great fight.
I'm gonna cut you off for a second.
Yeah.
You told me to make a bet. What was that bet this weekend?
So I told you to bet Arnold Allen. Actually.
Okay, so
Yeah.
now I want everyone to know that you told me to bet Arnold Allen.
Yes.
Hey, Arnold Allen. Wanda, do you think I bet on it?
No.
I didn't. Did he win?
He did not win.
Thank God.
Did not
There we
win.
go. High five.
He did not win. He
Woo!
did not win. So this
Talk about it.
was one of those fights where when they put it up on the betting websites, the lines were, Holloway was always a slight favorite going into the fight, minus 170 compared to Arnold's plus 130. Typically, when I see ones, I'm thinking even fight. Okay. And I've seen a lot of Arnold Allen. Wanderer has definitely seen his fair share of Max Holloway.
He's been on the rise for forever.
Wanderer goes back.
What's
a lot.
forever? Like years?
No, like he's been ascending. Just whoever's in front of him,
He's crushing.
goes through.
He's one of the
okay.
best. He's one of the best. I mean, people have called
Well,
him the GOAT in that
He's not
division.
the best because he lost this Saturday.
Well-rounded.
Well, no. Mind you, we're talking about Max Holloway right now.
Oh.
If I'm not mistaken, right, Wander? This is Max Holloway we're talking about.
No, I was talking about Allen.
Oh, Allen. Yeah, Allen's definitely a fast rise, but Holloway is. I mean,
Holloway's a legend.
Holloway's a legend. Exactly. See, I thought you were talking about Holloway for a second.
No.
So going into the fight, I saw the ones on there, and to see that in a Holloway fight, if I'm not mistaken, is that means that this guy's coming to win, coming to fight. And if we've seen Arnold Allen fight guys like Dan Hooker and perform very well against them, he's one of those guys that's not afraid to get into a brawl with you, big heavy striker. And you knew that's what they were going to do this weekend. That's exactly what they did. They stood there, they fought, there was a lot of striking back and forth.
So it was basically a brawl.
It was a brawl, yeah, It was a brawl.
And he just was on the bad end.
But Holloway, again, very smooth boxer. They did engage in that brawl thing a few times, but Holloway was able to kind of finesse his boxing skills and move out of the way when he had to, also engage when he had to, and he wound up taking a decision against them.
Any takedowns for Allen?
No takedowns,
Yeah.
no. In fact, they clinched a few times.
Yeah. Well, that's not.
But it was later in the fight, so that might have just been because he was tired or whatever.
It's
But
never a good sign against Holloway.
yeah. And Holloway underrated too, right? Isn't he like a brown belt in jiu-jitsu or something?
Yeah,
like
he's
that?
good. He's decent on the ground too.
And I've never seen him on the
he
ground.
just loves to throw
I've
hands.
never seen exactly. So my perspective going into it was Holloway a lot of miles on him. So I figured, and the way he looked against Volkanovski too. I mean, credit to Volkanovski. At the end of the day, I mean, what does that tell you about him? At the end of the day,
Yeah,
I mean, in their last fight, he made him look actually bad, poor. I would say Holloway did not look good in that fight at all. And again, I know we're talking about one of the legends here. I'm not trying to disparage him. I'm a Holloway fan, but I just thought the timing was right there for Allen. 10 fights in the UFC, 10-0 in the UFC, hot as could be. Had a good showing.
Right.
Had a good showing. No slouch by any stretch. He'll be a tough out for anybody in that division.
Right. Was there any other big fights on this card?
The Barbosa fought.
Good fight.
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I have to check it out because I only was able to catch the main event.
Yeah, that's okay.
Let's see what he did because he's always interesting. He actually won by KO in the first round.
Wow.
And he was fighting this guy Billy. I'm probably gonna butcher his name. Quantarillo. Quantarillo. Yeah. I heard he was kind of on the rise. That guy. One of my boys at work was looking forward to him winning in that fight. The fact that Edson pulled that off in the first round KO. Good, I mean, good on him. Other than that, I mean, I wouldn't really get Clay Guida fought. Clay Guida is like, when they dig that guy up from out behind the stadium, oil him up like the Tin Man, and throw him in the ring. I mean, he lost in a decision. Been around forever and ever.
He's, you gotta give him credit, man. He's still in there.
I give him credit. He's been
fighting.
Is it like Soda Pop Pensy from Mike Tyson's Punch Out?
He's getting to be that, man.
Right?
He's getting
The
to
guy
be
you just
there.
beat up on for a
He's getting to be there.
couple rounds and make some money off of?
He's getting to be there. But I was impressed by Holloway, man. Listen, I thought he was... he's still very young in the sport. I mean, he started very young. He's got a lot of miles on him. At the end of the day, he had a good showing against Arnold Allen. And Allen is no slouch either. I mean, to go 5 against Holloway and look and have his points in certain moments in that fight, I thought it was impressive. I think Allen is going to have a very long career in the UFC.
And then the week prior was the big rematch, right?
With who?
Adesanya.
And Pereira, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what did you think of that?
So I thought going into it, when someone has your number, someone has your number. I actually picked Pereira to win the fight.
I would have too. I mean, I didn't, get to watch it, but going in, I was confident that I thought Pereira would win.
And credit to Adesanya for just
Making
winning in
adjustments.
impressive fashion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's funny because when they first fought, and again, the 2 fights they've had outside of the UFC, you didn't really get to see much of them. I mean, they are out there. If you dig deep enough, you scour the internet, you will find them. But in the UFC fights, the first one, Adesanya did catch him with a nice right hand earlier on in their first fight.
Is that the guy that at the end of the fight was telling basically like the crowd to go chase their dreams and like win one or something like that? I saw something recently on something. It was either Twitter, TikTok, something. One of these UFC fighters, I don't remember his name because I don't really watch UFC much, but he was telling you guys if you win one and you keep fighting and you keep doing this and you win one, you'll be as happy as it can be. You just have to like stay the course and work hard and do this and do that. Like, do you guys listen to their when after they win?
Yeah,
they talk?
I don't know if he specifically said that. I know Kelvin Gastelum had a post fight speech similar to that where he was very.
Was it recent?
Yes, very recently. Yeah.
What does this guy look like?
Kelvin Gastelum. Let's see if I can get you.
I don't really know what this guy looks like. I don't remember his name because I don't think they said it. There was just a quick spiel, and I don't know. I liked what he was saying. It was kind of cool. It kind of hit home, I guess you could say. If you get one big win, it's really good. No, it wasn't that guy.
Let's see if it was this guy. Hang on.
Yeah, it had to be recent, within the last couple weeks. So.
Was it this guy right here? Boom. This is Adesanya.
All right, we're waiting. Yep, it was him.
There you go. Boom.
Yeah, definitely him.
And what was the co-main on that?
The co-main on that? Let's actually check that out. I'm not sure.
What the hell's a co-main?
The co-main event on the
the
Adesanya card.
co-main event, got it.
So the co-main event on that was the Gilbert Burns Jorge Masvidal sent that dude into retirement.
Really?
Gilbert Burns, yeah. I mean, you almost had the feeling going into the fight Gilbert Burns was going to win. You know what I mean?
So
I mean,
how did it go?
I believe he won by decision.
Okay.
Let's get the correct. Yeah, he it was a decision over 3 rounds. He was a heavy favorite going into the fight.
Right, just picked him apart pretty much.
I was never a big Masvidal guy though.
No?
I was never a big Masvidal guy.
I mean, he's a veteran. He's been fighting since he was a kid. At a high level, different bunch of different organizations. Just
Yo, where's my
always,
boy?
Always ready to scrap.
Yo, where's my boy Ken Shamrock
Always
and
ready.
Brock Lesnar?
Always ready to hand out a 3-piece.
You know?
Listen,
A
man.
2-piece and a biscuit. I forget which one.
Yeah.
You know me.
2-piece and a biscuit?
You know me. I'm a
Usmana!
well, you're a big
That's my man.
Usman fan, especially with the Black Panther movie.
Yeah.
I know you're very big on the Marvel scene, but Wanderer knows best, man. I'm a Colby Covington guy.
Yeah.
Hate it or love it, I'm a Colby Covington guy through and through.
Is he from Long Island or something?
No, he's not from Long Island. I'm just a fan of him. You know what? It's one of those hate it or love it things. He is kind of like one of those. He does take on a little bit of the villain role in the UFC, and it looks like he's going to fight Leon Edwards now in London. Could be like this summer. So
Hello,
that's an
Governor.
interesting fight. I like to see that, especially with the striker versus wrestling, like that whole duality and that whole clash of styles. But yeah, listen, man, UFC, credit to them. They put on the best fights. Number 1 fights the champion. Number 2 is always fighting the one guy. They're jockeying for position. Boxing has a big fight this weekend. Tank Davis, Gervonta Davis, is fighting Ryan Garcia.
Oh wow, that is a big fight.
Any
I thought he was
prediction?
going to fight Holyfield. I
No,
heard he
no,
wants
no.
to come back
This
and make
guy,
some money.
this guy's out of the loop when it comes to anything other than the Yankees. But
You know that's not true. I'm going to cut you off right there because you weren't even around with the hockey talk besides like, hey, yeah, let's go New York teams. I just don't like boxing or UFC. I have watched it before, but you know what? It's one of those things that like either you hate it or you love it. The only thing I like about UFC is my man Usmana. Like that's a beast.
Let me ask you a question, Wonder. Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia. Any prediction?
I'm gonna go Davis by decision.
Davis, I like that. Okay.
You guys are talking boxing right now?
Boxing, yeah.
Boxing hasn't been the same since all those guys that were dope 20 years ago retired.
Hey,
Okay.
Dana White said it the best. And listen, I'm a boxing aficionado, but he had one of the best quotes I ever heard about boxing, and that was, "Boxing is like a sellout, going out of business sale every time they put on a fight, and it shouldn't be that way. It should be the best should be fighting the best." We're getting to see a little glimpse of that now, especially in that division. They should do more like a round robin thing where all those guys, Lomachenko, Davis, Garcia, they all fight each other.
Well, why did Dana White say that though?
Well, again, he's the owner of the UFC, he's the promoter of the UFC, but he's not wrong. As a boxing fan, I'll tell you, he's not wrong. And boxing's my first love, way before the UFC.
Right, but UFC took over all this boxing stuff. Like once UFC got super popular, it pushed boxing back. If UFC had never been around, everyone would still be loving boxing like they did 20 years ago when the Mike Tysons, the Holyfields, all those guys were fighting. Because that's when boxing was great. Even Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, all those guys. Like now, like I don't know much about boxing anymore, but it's not even close to as popular as UFC. And maybe it's because like UFC is like you could have a grappler fighting a boxer, and then you have someone else like fighting like martial arts, and guys got a ground game against. So it's all different stuff. Whereas boxing is just boxing. and I think that's where they're losing a lot of people on now. And you know, the younger crowd, it's almost like baseball, where like the younger crowd isn't really hyping up boxing as much. That's why baseball is changing so much right now, like all the other sports, to accommodate the younger crowd to keep it going. Because ultimately, if you don't get people, like the younger people coming into a sport, when everyone, I hate to say it, like doesn't exist anymore or dies off, like you're not gonna have a sport. If kids aren't playing baseball, if kids aren't boxing, one of my best friends has his son in boxing right now, which is great. He likes to box. So it's a good thing, right? But I don't know if there's as many people that like to box. And then you have to worry about, you know, them being good and making it. Otherwise, if you don't have anyone good, no one's gonna go to watch and the sport's gonna die. And correct me if I'm wrong, the sport maybe not almost died 10 years ago, but it took a nice little dip where everyone was worried about if boxing was going to make it once UFC became so popular, no?
Well, boxing still has an enormous fan base.
Enormous enough where it's like one of the top sports in the United States?
I mean, enormous enough to where the fighters that are in there are getting very well compensated. Boxers, historically and even present day, have made more than UFC fighters. Not to say that UFC fighters are any slouches by any stretch, but you know your perennial boxing stars, and even like your you know the guys that are. I mean, I consider Canelo like probably the cash king at this point in time, Canelo Alvarez, but even like your lower tier guys are still making a lot of money, and they're making a lot of money not fighting necessarily the top competition. And these boxing events, they do. I mean, you're going to see it this weekend. They're fighting in Vegas, the T-Mobile Arena. I guarantee you, it's going to be a sellout crowd. They're going to.
I mean, it's always going to be a solid crowd because it's like 18,000 fans.
What's going to be interesting is their purses. You know, I don't think they've been released yet, but you know, maybe next time you guys can look up their purses. I guarantee you, both those guys are getting paid.
All right. Well, didn't you say there was a boxing match last week?
No, UFC was last week.
No, it wasn't UFC this weekend.
This past weekend, yeah.
Right.
There wasn't.
So
I don't think there was a boxing match.
two-
Oh well, no. There was a bunch of boxing.
We were just talking about boxing.
Yeah.
There was a fight. So what was the purse on that fight?
I don't know. We have to really dive into those numbers right now. I don't know if they.
Only we had someone that could look that up, Wonder, right?
They don't always release the purse numbers for a fight, just so we're clear on
I
that.
think he's right, yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're gonna side with this guy? I'm
Listen,
trying to put him on the
listen,
spot.
I don't
Listen,
think we have the number of it.
I'm the color guy today. I'm the color guy.
The color guy is the guy that looks up the stuff.
I don't think
Ernie would
listen,
have had no problem
I'll be
finding
honest
that.
with you. I'll be honest with you. I don't think that was released yet.
Wander, I'm gonna shout out Ernie right now in this episode. We miss you, pal. All right, I'm gonna take a sip of my water. We miss you. We're gonna need you next week because apparently your alternate is not doing his job. He wants to bring up that they make all this money, but has no answers to what they're actually making.
You'll have to take my word on it. I don't know what else to tell
I
you.
will never do that on this show. So hopefully next week maybe he'll call in, or if he's coming back, maybe he'll have answers for us that they make some kind of decent money. You know, I know for a fact that the Pacquiao Mayweather fights made a ton of money, but those are two giant superstars, right? So that would only make sense. But the other guys that aren't as well known, do they make a ton of money? I don't know. You tell me. I don't know. I have no clue.
Okay, here we go. So just to clue you in, last weekend Sebastian Fundora, he fought this guy Brian Mendoza. Okay.
This is boxing.
And this is boxing.
Got it.
It was an upset. Okay, Mendoza. If you know anything about the two fighters, Fundora was a big favorite. For just the fight itself, he made $425K.
Okay.
And Mendoza made $100K.
Okay, so that's nice money.
This is just walking in the door.
That's nice money.
Now, granted, that's the purse. You have to pay your trainers or whatever else. You have to pay. I'm sure the commissions get a little taste on that, but
Yeah, there's a ton of money that comes out of that. But either which way, that's a decent amount of money.
Yeah, these are
for
two
a
guys
boxer.
that
Was that a main event fight?
that was a main event fight.
Okay.
They headlined the Showtime card.
Okay, so there you go. See, it didn't take a lot of
Listen, I'm
researching.
not as professional as Ernie, but
It didn't take a lot of researching, though. You found that rather quickly. Good job, right? You did a good job right there. Put him on the spot. He came back in a couple
Look at that.
seconds.
Redemption.
Right. Redemption's big, right? You know,
Sounds like
everyone
a
likes
big deal,
a good redemption story, you know?
For a song.
Or so, yeah. Ta bien. So what else do we got here? We got the Knicks. The Knicks started their playoff run this week.
Knickerbocker playoff
Woo!
basketball.
Oh boy. I mean, I don't know if anyone watched it, I watched some of it. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't watch the whole game because, once again, I was golfing. It's very relaxing. I enjoy it. The game started at 6, so I missed some of it. But what I did see was guys hustling the entire game. Now, towards the end of the game, they had like a nice little lead. They gave up the lead and evaporated rather quickly. So you saw the highlights, right?
No, I actually got to watch the end.
Oh, so tell us about it. Tell us about the end, please.
Yeah, so they had a comfortable lead, and
Was it 7?
I think it was double digits. I'm not
Oof.
sure, but then they didn't, and I think they went down by 1 at least.
You're right, they did.
And it's typical, collapse, typical, fashion, and then Hart, who just got injured, unfortunately, and Brunson were just clutch down the stretch. Just ice water in the veins, got the job done, and move on to game 2 tomorrow night.
Is it still in Cleveland?
I'm not sure.
Or they do 1 and 1?
I'm not sure what time the game is. So.
It's probably around the same time, 6, 7, 8 o'clock, somewhere around there. I know on Saturday it was 6, but that's because they had games after that.
Steve, you know what time the game is?
Let's check it out right now. This game will be tomorrow.
Yes, sir. I know at the end of the game.
7:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
Oof,
Excellent.
so
Thank you,
perfect
sir.
prime time game right there. Are they in Cleveland?
They're in Cleveland. Do you want to guess the line on this game?
4.
For which way?
I would say Cleveland.
It's in Cleveland?
The game is. They're in Cleveland.
I would say Cleveland.
No, that's too much then. Cleveland -2.
That's not bad. I'll take
Booge,
it.
what are you saying?
No, I agree with him. -2, but it's for Cleveland.
-5.5 Cleveland.
Wow.
So they're
I
giving
guess I
5.5
should've went
points to the
first guess.
Knicks.
The Knicks are +5.5.
We might have to bet that.
Hey, listen, put it out there right now for the fans. The
Yeah,
Knicks are
right.
+180 money line.
Plus
looks like-
180?
Looks like somebody likes these odds.
Little bang for your buck. A lot of the bets early on are going towards Cleveland now. It
If-
looks like according to
use your
Bleacher
discretion.
Report, 90% of the bets are going on Cleveland. Now, did they open at that? Let's take a look here. They opened at 4. So they opened at Cleveland -4, and people have been heavy on Cleveland.
Well, the reason why is the Knicks took the first game in Cleveland, so now they're almost doubling down that Cleveland's going to at least split at their home, like have home field advantage. They're going to split and win the second game, which 9 times out of 10 is going to happen. If the Knicks have anything good, now the heart injury really hurts them.
Yeah,
because
that's
at
a
the
big
end
loss.
of
Big loss.
first off, he was holding it down the whole game, and then he got hurt at the end. They had a bunch of offensive rebounds, and at the end of the game, to save the game for them, they wound up winning, I think, by 4, which is huge because all that says to me is heart, determination. They wanted it more. Like if you're fighting for those offensive rebounds to keep the ball on your side of the court, so the other team doesn't get the ball to try and score, that's fantastic at the end of a game. I want them to do that every game. They didn't even play that well the entire game because, like you said, they went down. They lost the lead. Whether it's 7 points or double digits, they lost that lead and were down by 1. Then they clawed back. That shows like a lot of heart right there, right? So if they could do that again and play a little bit better in game 2, and don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people on that bench that are going to have to take over because Hart's he's doubtful as of right now.
Right.
So the game's tomorrow. He's probably not playing. When you're doubtful in any sport, you're not playing. So he's not going to be there. So the other guys, like the R.J. Barretts of the world, the Quickleys, like all these guys, the Mitchell Robinsons, they're all going to have to pick up the slack. And they're going to have to play tough. Like, I understand why everyone's picking Cleveland, because it's almost like if you go down 0-2, the Knicks are going to go home to the Garden. Like,
Right.
that's crazy to me.
Fired up.
They're down 2-0 and you're going to the Garden. It's almost like at that point you might as well bet the sweep.
Back against the wall going to Mecca.
Ooh. Oh boy. How do you pick Cleveland in any game after that? If they lose this game, how do you pick Cleveland again?
The only thing I would add from what I'm seeing, and again, I'm not a basketball guy by any stretch, but the Knicks were 11th in points in the NBA this season. Cleveland 25th, for whatever that's worth. The big thing here looks like rebounds. Knicks 3rd in the league in rebounding. Cleveland also 25th in the league in rebounding.
But that goes to what I was just saying.
What's the? I know the Clippers won, right? I saw Kawhi. I think had a big game. Any other games that you saw? Right.
Yeah, Clippers won. They beat the Suns 115-110. The Heat actually, and I don't know if you want to plug Amish right now because I know Amish had a vested interest in the Bucks last night. The Heat, the 8th seed, upset the Bucks 130-117 last night.
Ooh.
I know Amish was upset about that, and I don't think it was a close game either. I'm pretty sure they were dominating them. And then I'm showing Lakers set at the 7th seed, beating the number 2 seed Grizzlies 128.
I saw that the other. What was that, yesterday?
This was yesterday's
Yeah,
game.
I saw the tail end of that game. That game was crazy.
Today, right now,
They were going back and forth in that game, and then all of a sudden the Lakers just blew it open out of nowhere. Like I was watching it, I'm on my phone, then all of a sudden it was like 113, 112, and then all of a sudden it was 126 to 116. I'm like, what just happened?
Wow.
Like I missed all the scoring.
Speaking
Yeah, they're on the TV right now. They're showing the basketball playoffs.
There's a game going on right now. It's at halftime. It's the Nets and the Sixers.
What's the score? What do we got?
Philly leads the series 1-0. Nets are winning 49-44.
Oh, that's close.
Later on tonight, you have the Warriors at the Kings.
Game
Sacramento
two.
up 1-0 on the Kings right now.
Yeah, Sacramento had a good year, I think.
There's a lot of teams. Like who knew about the Grizzlies either? Like I didn't know about them. Grizzlies are in the 2nd seed
Yeah,
in the West.
John Morant playing
Yeah.
at a high level.
Yeah, that's good for them too. You know, like the Grizzlies. I remember when they first
Came into the league.
Yeah,
them and the Raptors.
Yeah, my
Same
father
year.
bought me the Grizzlies hat because it had the bear on it with the basketball,
Yeah.
and it was grabbing the
They
basketball.
had that cool blue.
Yeah, like the
blue-
teal. It was like
blue
teal.
Yeah,
It was like teal on the brim, and then you had the bear with holding the basketball, but it looked like it's ripping the basketball. It was dope. That was a dope hat.
Yeah.
I wish I still had that hat.
Their logo was so much better than what it
Shout
is
out
now.
to the OG Vancouver Grizzlies.
Right.
Their logo was so much better than it is now. And also, you know what's had a better logo at one point in time, and now I don't particularly care for it? The Timberwolves. They used to have like that wolf
The
on
wolf, the
there.
wolf face.
Now it's like a wolf.
It was
it's
like-
like howling at the moon.
I think it
I'm
was
not
a
fan of it.
basketball, and the wolf was in the basketball, right, or something like that.
Something like that, but
Yeah.
it was more of like a a
Yeah,
mean
yeah.
looking wolf. Now it's I don't know.
Well, what is the Grizzlies thing
The
now?
Grizzlies logo now. I don't know if you can see it right there. Take a peek. Bottom.
Oh, it's just a bear.
Yeah, it's just like a
See this? It's just a bear.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
What was the bear from the Jungle Book? Mowgli?
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 I think it was Mowgli.
Yeah,
was it
with a
Mowgli?
G.
No, wasn't Mowgli the name of the kid?
Oh yeah. I think
If only we had someone looking it up. If only
No,
we had someone looking
I'll
it
tell you
up.
what his name was right now. His name was
Great
Baloo.
film.
His name was Baloo.
Oh, it was Blue.
No, Baloo.
Baloo. Baloo.
Great film. Shout out to Favreau, John Favreau.
Oh, he did that?
Yep, getting that Disney money. Good for him.
Oh, the new one, the new movie. It wasn't the old.
I forget what
He
year.
No, but it
he
was
directed.
more recent. It wasn't the old one.
John Favreau
not
directed
the
the new one.
Yeah, that's
He
what I'm
didn't
saying.
direct the cartoon.
I was about to say he was like 12 years old or something like that.
John Favreau directed the movie that came out in 2016.
There you go.
Shout out to Rudyard Kipling,
Yo.
the godfather of it all,
Yo.
Who's that?
the author of the Jungle Book.
Oh, that's what you're talking about.
He
Okay.
has a great poem, I think too. I think it's called If. Or I think it's called If.
That's
Here for it.
Give
No,
that
I'm
a
just
go.
kidding.
And so, I'm probably wrong, but we'll find out what it is either way.
Okay, so what? I mean, we're speaking movies now, so I guess we'll just transition
Oh,
right to that.
Look at that. Nice
You know?
little.
Do we have anything that we've seen? I haven't seen much this past
Film?
week in film. No, I wish I have. But you know.
Anything you're anticipating seeing?
You know what I want to see?
Yeah.
Just I don't want to cut you off. Wonder you stand correct. It was called If.
Yes, fantastic poem. Check that out if you can.
I'm a fan of that
It's,
film.
it's
Actually,
deep. It's deep. So yeah, maybe next time we'll dive in maybe.
another good. Very. I'm gonna be very brief. I don't want to cut you off on the movie thing. I know the call guy said, but if you've never done it, read Rikki Tikki Tavi. That's also by Rudyard Kipling.
Okay, and that's a book.
That is a book.
Alright.
Yeah, that's
Put it on
by
my
Rudyard
list.
Kipling. It's
Thank
about a mongoose fighting a cobra.
Oh yeah, I've seen it, and I've I've seen it happen before.
That's crazy.
Not
In like
live,
real life?
Not live, but
Oh.
like a video. And,
Oh, like a YouTube video or something like
just
that.
like
Yo, those are crazy videos.
In another country,
Yeah.
it's just like, hey, let's see
But
what
my-
happens.
I think mongooses put up a fight, don't they? They're
Um,
pretty vicious.
You'll see. Check it out.
Yeah.
Give it a goog.
The,
Give it a goog.
In your free time.
The
I'm not talking to
mongoose,
Steve, right?
if I'm not mistaken, the mongoose is has some sort of defense against the venom from the cobra.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, like they're not, I'm not gonna say they're immune to it,
I believe so.
but if they take like a bite from a cobra,
It doesn't hurt them as much.
it doesn't it won't kill them.
Right.
Like as if like one of us gets bit by a
Right,
cobra.
right. I
Like,
think
like
you're
that's
right.
it. We're off of the count.
I
But
think
like,
you're right.
There is one way to find out.
We should. Well, if anyone's listening, any sponsors, let's get a mongoose and cobra in this apartment.
No,
we'll
no,
have them go crazy.
No.
We'll have them go crazy in a cage.
I just
Woo!
might look it up.
No, not looking it up. We'll build a cage in here. Someone will sponsor it. I don't know, maybe Wendy's. I don't know. Who cares? Someone will sponsor. We'll get a
Maybe
cage.
Home Depot.
Mongo, yeah.
maybe you
Home
get the
Depot.
grass to sponsor.
You know what?
it.
I got a great idea. Here it comes right now. Home Depot will sponsor the cage. We'll have Animal Planet sponsor the mongoose and the cobra. Bring it into the second bedroom of my
I'm sure they will
apartment,
sign up for that.
and we'll go wild. We'll
There-
film it. It'll go wild.
Similar to the mongoose. Believe it or not, squirrels put up fights against
Oh yeah,
cobras.
I believe it.
Okay.
They're in that same family as the mongoose.
I feel like the squirrel will lose 9 times out of 10 against the cobra.
Probably
Where
because
like the mongoose is more like probably like 50-50.
They'll survive. I think what he's saying is like
They have
better
that
chance.
right. They have that
Better
like
chance.
thing like the mongoose. Like they could take a direct strike and it won't hurt them.
their jaws aren't as nearly as strong as a mongoose.
Absolutely not.
Mongooses are
They're
incredibly
they
strong.
have tiny teeth.
Have you ever seen the movie?
No.
It's like
I have not.
it's like 7 S's. It's an old school like horror movie from like the 70s.
You've seen that?
I've seen it. In fact, I'm not gonna spoil it for anybody.
This is Steve's movie pick of the week.
Right, here we go.
Go see the movie.
From the 70s.
It almost reminds me of what is it, Dodgeball? You know,
Vipers.
Cobra. It was
No,
cobras. Cobras. Purple
Good
cobras.
movie. Good movie.
Great
if you've
movie.
never seen it.
Great movie. Great movie.
I actually
Absolutely
recommend it.
great movie.
Old school, like, I guess you'd call it horror for the time, but
Oh.
yeah, good movie. Good movie.
Who's
There
in
is
it?
a there
Do
is
you
a
know who's in it?
I have no idea who's in it.
So there's nobody popular in it, is what you're saying.
No one popular in it. But what I will tell
I
you
want
is
to
this:
IMDb this right now.
I'm
I'm gonna IMDb this right now.
What I will
Talk
tell
about
you, Wander, there is a mongoose cobra fight scene in the movie. I'm not gonna say anything more than
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Oh, really?
There is a mongoose cobra.
Where
fight
can we
scene.
see this at? Is it with like S's and H's?
Type in like 7 S's.
Oh no, 1973.
There you go.
Oh, you know who's in it? The guy from A-Team. Face. Dirk Benedict. Face is in it. This is wild. It's an hour and 39 minutes from 1973. There's a snake, I guess there's a mongoose. It's got, well, by the way, it's got a 5.4 out of 10.
Like I said, old school.
Old school horror.
Wonder, what was the name of that guy? Ed Wood. Mm-hmm. It's like one of those type of like better than like an Ed Wood horror movie.
Oh, okay. I follow.
Like better than an Ed Wood, but you know,
Similar
like
style.
but like similar, like horror in its new horror in its like nuance, like
Right.
70s style,
Right,
whatever.
different. Yeah.
If for nothing else, it's entertaining.
Yeah.
It's about snakes.
and-
You'll enjoy it.
Is it like Snakes on a Plane?
Never seen Snakes on a Plane.
You probably should. It's pretty hilarious. Samuel L. Jackson is fantastic in that movie. If not for nothing more, it's Samuel L. Jackson. You should watch it.
Fair play.
Samuel L. Jackson's been in like the most movies ever. Ever. It's crazy.
I'll have to
Him and
check
Nick
it out.
Cage battle back and forth. They just keep making movies to see who's gonna be number one.
Nicholas Cage has that new movie at Renfield or something.
Yeah,
something like that.
it's probably
yeah,
pretty
I think
good.
I saw a commercial for
Yeah.
that. They look a little bugged out, right?
It
Yeah.
does, yeah.
Well, it's him as a vampire.
Listen, like the bugged out ones, those are some of his best movies.
Yeah, 100%.
Like Bad Lieutenant,
Yeah.
Port of New Orleans.
Snake Eyes, I think was one of them too.
Yes, Snake. What's the other? Trying to think of the other. Mandy. Oh my God.
I never saw that one.
Bugged out.
Like there's some ones that are on the radar that are really freaking good too, like Face Off, Con Air, The Rock.
Moonstruck.
Raising Arizona. Like he's got a bunch of stuff. Like he's like Samuel L. Jackson.
Kick
like,
ass.
Yeah, kick ass, hilarious and good, entertaining. Both of them. He does a lot of movies. He actually did a movie about himself. And the guy that's the Mandalorian is in it with him now. He's like, he's a huge super fan. I forget what the name of the title is.
Adaptation 2, is that him? I think that was him, yeah.
It was supposed to be like something about Nick Cage, then they changed the title. I don't remember what it was. It came out like last year or something like that. But it's supposed to be like a super fan, he's rich, bringing him to his like island or whatever, and all this shenanigans happens and whatever. And he's like, I'm Nick Cage, and he's like, whatever. I gotta find out where it's on.
Was it The Unbearable?
What's it called?
The Unbearable?
Nothing else after that?
You're saying it came out last year?
Yeah. It's a long title. It should be a long title. Last year.
Unbearable weight of
Yeah, that's it.
Of massive talents.
Yeah, that's it. It's supposed to be like.
Go to the bathroom, I'll be back.
It was supposed to be like something. The title was supposed to be something different, like something about Nick Cage. Like Nick Cage was in the title, but it looked pretty funny. Like I wanted to watch it, but
You have The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. And
yeah, that's it. That's it.
That's it. Okay,
That's
but
it.
Nick Cage is not. I mean, he plays himself. He stars as himself, Nicky.
Right. That's the whole point. It's a movie about his like life or whatever. Like I don't know. I didn't watch it yet, but it's supposed to be really funny.
Gotcha.
It's a movie all about him, and like the premise is like the guy hires him to come hang out with him, and he's a big fan of his, and he's supposed to be a massive talent and all this other stuff. But it's kind of wild.
Did you ever see the movie Prisoners with Hugh Jackman
Yeah, good
and
movie.
Jake Gyllenhaal?
Good movie.
That's one of the most underrated movies I've seen in a long time.
Good movie.
That's a good thriller movie. And speaking of new movies, the movie Creed.
Yeah, what about it? Did you watch it?
I didn't see it yet, but I know that it's supposed to be like, what is it, the third installment. Did you check the new movie out, Creed, yet?
No,
The new Creed. I heard it's supposed to be pretty good. I'm waiting to go see it actually because I am a big Rocky guy. I go way back with the Rocky films.
Oh, everyone loves Rocky, but
They
Rocky
did a
has
nice-
nothing to do with Creed 3.
But and you're holding that against them?
Yeah, 100%.
Wow.
There was a big fight between the director and Rocky, the director or writer, whichever it is. If he bought the rights to Rocky from Stallone, or something like that. It was a big fight, so Stallone didn't want to work with him in Creed 3. He's not at all in Creed 3, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't like Creed 2 that much. Some of it was way out there. It was a little ridiculous. So
This is when he fought Drago's son?
yeah, that was the best part of the movie was when he just fought Drago's son, and that was it.
Jesus.
But Creed 3 is
Creed 3 is, according to Esquire, a big FU to Rocky.
right, exactly. So like, I'm not gonna watch it unless it's free.
Fans over there,
Yeah.
Esquire, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not gonna watch it till it's free. I'm not going to the movies to see it. It's probably almost out of the movie theater already.
This guy's boycotting Creed 3. Fair play.
Yeah.
If
Creed
that's
2 wasn't that good.
I thought Creed 2 was okay. I actually liked the desert scene.
That was the most retarded part of the movie.
Really?
Yeah, because they almost tried to take a piece of Rocky 4 when Rocky was in Russia and he's training in like in the snow, ice, in the barn, like running the mountain, whatever. But he had no choice to do that because he had to go to Russia and fight Drago. And he asked for a certain amount of things. He got it. He got a house with like the rocks and like the whatever, and he did his training. It's almost like in Creed 2, they forced it. They went out to the middle of the desert. There's a bunch of dudes training there, not just one guy. Like, why are all these dudes training in the desert? Why is there like fire pits and just like tents and like there's no cars anywhere? Like, how'd they get there? Did they run from Vegas to the desert and then all of a sudden you're training with a bunch of people? Like, it just didn't make any sense.
Wonder, do you remember Tim Bradley, the fighter? He fought Pacquiao
Yeah.
4 times.
Yep.
His
Big
nickname.
upset when he beat him, right?
Yeah, a lot of controversy around that first one too. But his nickname was Desert Storm. That dude used to train in the desert.
That's okay.
That's not that far fetched.
But no. That doesn't have to be about far-fetched. That guy probably trained in the desert by himself.
He trained with his father in the desert.
Right,
His father was his trainer.
But when you watch this movie, there's like 30, 40 dudes doing all types of weird stuff in the desert. It just, to me, you didn't need it. Like, they tried to make it like Rocky 4, and if they wanted to make it like Rocky 4, they should have had him training there alone, not with a bunch of other dudes that you don't even know if they're boxers. They're just training. They're doing almost like CrossFit stuff. Like, who knows if they're boxers or not? Like, I don't know. Like, it was just too much. Like, if you wanted to, he should have ran through the desert. Then maybe trained somewhere. Like, then maybe hit a bunch of bags or did this and that and the other thing. It was all CrossFit stuff. To me, it just didn't make any sense for boxing. You know what I mean? Especially with like 30, you're training with 30 other dudes in the desert, and then they pan out, and there's nothing around for miles. Is there not a parking lot for, like, how are you guys getting miles and miles away? Are they really running that far and then training all day and all night? That's not realistic,
You know
bro.
what it's like? You know what
That's
it's
ridiculous.
like? This is like you questioning. This is like you trying to say John Wick isn't real. Like John Wick, I can't watch John Wick because it's not realistic. It's a movie.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be more
Wonder.
realistic.
Come on, help me out over here, bro. This guy's trying to be like supposed to be realistic. Is John Wick realistic?
The film, yeah, I mean,
No, it's not realistic, but like it's an assassin movie. We don't know what assassins really do. There's so much mystery behind that. This is a boxing movie. People box in a gym. Like, even in Rocky IV, what was Rocky IV? Drago was fighting in the gym, was working out in the gym, taking steroids, basically. They just didn't say it. He's like taking shots, he's working on all the new machines, and Rocky got the shit end of the stick, and he's like running up mountains by himself. He didn't run with 40 other dudes up the mountain in the snow, and then he's, shadow boxing and like throwing, truck tires down the mountain. You know what I mean? Like, he did the training, he got ripped, he was lifting rocks, like, there was no need for this guy to go to the desert with 40 other people. Rocky did it alone, this guy didn't. Like, it would have been more believable if he ran like a mile or two out of the desert and did it by himself.
I think we got a Rocky super fan right here.
Damn right.
This guy
we
is a
do.
Rocky super fan.
Damn right we do.
You've seen all 5 Rockies?
You heard it here.
No, there's 6, dude.
No, I'm talking about. No, there's 5 of them.
No, there's 6. There's Rockies 1
Oh,
through 5 and then Rocky Balboa.
I'm talking about the old one.
Right,
Like
yeah,
there's
okay. But there's Rocky Balboa, which
Rocky
is
1
after
through
that.
5, and then Rocky Balboa.
Yeah, there's 6.
By the way, shout out to Antonio Tarver. He's who he fights in Rocky Balboa.
Yeah. Yeah.
And quick little story about that. Bernard Hopkins, being the shrewd boxer that he is,
The executioner.
waited till that dude waited till that
I'll do
dude
this
when
too, fuck it.
he blew all the way up to heavyweight, and then in the real boxing world said, "I'll fight you at light heavyweight 175," and the Tarver was like, "Yeah, let's do it." He smoked him.
Really?
Yeah, very strategic of Bernard Hopkins to wait for him to blow up for the Rocky movie for heavyweight, and then
Then
pull
it's
him
the
out,
timing. Timing is everything.
and then drain him to 175. Yeah.
There you go.
Wow.
He weighed like 220 for the Rocky movie, and then Bernard Hopkins was like, I forget. I think he
I
had.
remember Bernard Hopkins.
Yeah, I think he had the light heavyweight title at the time. Bernard Hopkins was like, "Oh, I'll come fight you." Remember, B-Hop was a middleweight.
Yeah.
He was a 160 pounder.
Yeah.
He went all the way up, and he was like, "Yeah, let's go."
Yeah. Tough.
And he took the fight, and he blew him out of the water.
Easy money.
Bernard Hopkins. Shout out to Bernard Hopkins.
We do we have anything else? Wanda, you got anything else to plug today, or what do we got?
For the cast?
In
Oh,
general.
we went through everything already?
Well,
Wow.
pretty much, yeah. I mean, it's been a bit.
Yeah, let me, you know what, I didn't watch any films, but I am finally catching up with The Last of Us. I believe I'm up to episode 8, so I'm really enjoying that. Yeah.
So you think you're gonna finish that show by next week's episode?
Who knows, but I'm saying there's a chance.
So you're saying there's a chance. That's good. I'm gonna hold you to that
Okay.
because it's a special edition Monday for us doing the show.
Yeah.
So you have 6 days.
Oh, the clock is ticking.
You're on the clock right now, as they were saying, like the drafts. Like, you're on the clock.
I'm not worried.
You only have to watch, what, 2 episodes?
Yeah.
And they're not even an hour each. So, like, you could go and, like, get it in 1 a day, and we could talk about the whole show for a little bit.
Hold on. We might have a caller here. Yo. It's good, man. You're actually on the podcast right now.
I am.
Yeah.
I thought you were. I didn't know if you're still on it.
Yeah. Well, here you are. This is our friend Avin. Pugs, anything you want to discuss Marvel-wise or anything like that?
Well, we're going really over the limit right now, Alvin. It's great to hear from you, by the way. I haven't seen you in a while. How you been?
What's up, Bugs?
Nothing much, man. How you doing?
Good, brother. How you doing?
Not too bad, man. Just doing our thing, hanging out, talking shit like we always do. You know that.
Word.
You gotta give us a time next week that you're available so we can get you on the show and talk about a lot of different things. What do you think?
I'm down, man. I'm down.
Okay, so
I like all the same bullshit you guys like, so.
that's what I'm saying. You just called an hour and 10 minutes too late.
No, he didn't. We didn't tell him till we started filming. So let that be.
I'm just busting his balls
let the
anyway.
record state.
I'm just busting his balls, that's all. We got to get him on the show.
We called him last minute.
If he's not available by phone, you could come here. You're more than welcome. We'll get you in front of the camera. You know, everyone can see you. I don't know if you like that kind of thing, but you're more than welcome.
You got a makeup artist? Does that need a little, you know?
We got a few. We got a few here. We can make it. You know what? For you, I will make it happen. Okay?
You got a fluffer? I'm sorry.
Yeah, we got a bunch of different
Kids
things
watching,
here.
sorry about that.
You know, we can make it happen. I'll do whatever I can to get you on this show. I'll get you a wardrobe person, makeup artist. Who knows? Whatever you need, you tell me.
Sounds good.
We'll have Amish write up the contract. How does that sound? You know?
Yeah, I just want Amish to, review the contract first, then,
Go over the fine print.
I don't blame you. You know what I mean? Like we had to do our contracts with him too. Matter of fact, we got to plug him before we stop the show right now. You know? This is the longest show we had so far. We're running at 1:11, hour and 11 minutes.
Damn.
Yeah, on a Monday, no less, a special edition Monday.
Maybe we should end it here.
Right.
Monday night.
So we're gonna try and get you on the phone with our producer after the show, and we're gonna work out some times for you coming up on this weekend. How does that sound?
That sounds good. Have your people contact my people.
I like it. Verbal agreements. I dig it. Amisha's gonna call you later on tonight. Okay.
All right, sounds
Thanks
good.
for calling in, champ.
All right, thanks, guys.
Have a good night, pal.
Well,
All right, with that being said, I think that pretty much wraps up the show tonight. We actually had our first caller. Pretty exciting. We're going to have him back probably on the next show if he's available. Juan, you got any closing comments? What do we got?
I just want to throw in a couple of music picks on the way out.
Sure.
Let's go Blue and Orange, Everything. It's a single by Sky Zoo.
So you're talking about the Islanders.
No,
Sorry.
hey, listen, it
I
applies.
thought it was with the Mets.
It applies.
Ooh, that too.
Listen, you can apply. Well, you can apply it for both, but it's really about the Knicks.
Okay.
If you're a Knicks fan, then you're really gonna want it.
You get 3 different teams right there. I love it.
Damn, look at that.
Boom.
Colors, baby.
Boom.
And so yeah, I also wanted to shout out The Great Escape by the Alchemist and Larry June. I may have mentioned that a few weeks earlier, but hey, listen, take it for another spin. It's some quality stuff. And the other album that I wanted to mention was Black Thought and L. Michaels. I'm not sure how you say that. L. Michaels Affair.
I like it.
The album is called Glorious Game, and it's fantastic. Black Thought has been at the top of his game for a very long time. Definitely an underrated MC. Always brings it. And yeah, so that was it. Just 3 picks really quickly. And go ahead and close it out, right?
All right, well, real quick, we might have some short episodes coming through the week, depending on how our New York sports teams go. We'll talk about the games. If not, we'll see you over the weekend or another special edition on a Monday. I want to thank everybody here, Wanda, Steve, for participating. Ovid on the phone that came in real quick at the end of the show. Hopefully we'll get him on next week. I want to plug my main man, Amish. He was supposed to be a call-in, but he's busy working for you people in the tri-state area. Our man, the lawyer, he'll do whatever
Shout out
you
to
need.
Mish,
Yup.
Getting it done in the dregs of tax season.
Right, he'll do whatever you need. New business, buying any business, closing, wills, bankruptcy, personal injury, almost anything you need. All you got to do is contact him. He'll almost go anywhere.
Pretty much everyone that forgot to do their taxes probably hit him up over this. last
Absolutely. Phone number 516-622-2335 or at www.doshilegal.com. Once again, have a great week. We'll see you in episode 6. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night. Let's go Knicks and Islanders and Rangers. Boom.